Hi everyone, I am back with an updated Dance of Knives Rogue guide. Many people have lately been saying that this is not a viable build, that it is too slow, the damage is too shit, and that it's just boring to play. I do not agree, or I don't want to agree. I think the Dance of Knives as skill is very fun to play around with, and I've been trying to work out what could make you get to the higher pit tiers. I am currently at pit 73 and climbing, so yeah. In this guide I'll go through the gear, the rules, the skills and setups, and I'll also explain how you need to combo in order to maximize the damage. It is a very flexible build. You can play it actively, you can play it passively. I find that actively is the one that generates the most damage, where you basically wait for the perfect moment to run through packs of mobs, dishing out insane amounts of damage in short time, as long as you also time your combos. So without further ado, let's look at the skills. So starting off with the skills, we're not going to be using our basic skills, so 2 points in blade shift, just to move on to the core section, where again we won't be focusing on the skills. Stutter step for increased movement, target practice for crit chance, and sturdy for damage reductions, though it can be placed elsewhere if you prefer other types of damage reduction. Then we have siphoning strikes, which is basically the bulk of our healing. Now in previous builds people have opted for 0 crit chance. However, this builds on that the concealment bonus lasts the entire cast, which I feel is not the case anymore. I don't know if they've hotfixed it or what happened, but whenever I reload the concealment bonus, I instantly receive a huge damage boost. But for the moments when I can't reload, when I've been interrupted or whatever, I want to have the crit bonus as a backup, so that I can dish out damage proper while waiting to set up the combo again. And now moving on, we want to max out Dance of Knives, obviously. We run the disciplined Dance of Knives line, as the piercing is a proper banger. Now later I will be looking into the stun grenade oriented builds, but until that day this is what we're running. We'll also take the staple damage dealing passives, namely max out weapon mastery, unstable elixirs, and trick attacks. I use rugged for defense against poison damage, which is my arch nemesis, and we're also running caltrops with the cold perk for taking down extra tanky bosses or elites, namely due to this. This is a new addition to me, so I'm still working out on how to maximize its use in various situations, as it doesn't provide any bonuses directly for Dance of Knives itself. But yeah, we'll get into that later. Next, we have 1 point in concealment, all the way up to subverting. This used to be the core mechanic in maxing out damage, but as I said before, I think it's hotfixed out. It is nonetheless a noticeable must in the build. Smoke grenade is used for the same reason as caltrops, and this also acts as a trigger for the synergy and the Dance Macabre perks, which I'll get into later. I run up here for reducing its cooldown, but it has such a low cooldown with this build that it's debatable whether this is needed or not. This is the only thing you really want. Now I have 1 point in Dark Shroud up to countering Dark Shroud, also boosting crit for the same reason as explained before. Max out Exploit, Malice, and 2 points in Agile for extra defense. Also you can opt for whatever type of defense you want. Next we have our imbuements. Now I've tested out all the imbuements extensively, and poison is no option for me, because it's useless. You want to go fast, you want to go boom boom boom, you don't want to wait around for poison damage to tick. Shadow is alright, but you miss out on the crucial 15% damage bonus against chill from Frigid Finesse. Cold Imbuement also grants 40% chance to make enemies vulnerable, while Shadow Imbuement makes them vulnerable upon taking damage from the primary explosion. So if you have a horde of tanky elites, it'll take you a while before you start getting vulnerable if you're running the Shadow Imbuement build. It'll take a while, meaning you lose out so much damage, which is unacceptable. So 3 points in precision as well for more crit chance. Also worth noting, you only need 1 point in cold imbuement, as we don't care about the chill amount. It only increases the chill amount, not anything else. So let's move on. Oh, also need mixed, since dealing 20% damage to crowd control enemies. Everything is crowd controlled when they're chilled. Chill is a crowd control, so it's a banger. Moving on, we have the ultimate section. We are not running ultimates. There's no point in it. We don't have space. We're running impetus for increased damage, second wind, 2 points, and haste maxed out for movement speed. I'm not sure if this is actually helping. We are draining energy, but I don't know if it counts as spending. I haven't tested it out, so yeah, I'm a bit lazy, but it's there for now. Then we have momentum. It's the staple. Gives increased damage reduction, and movement speed are the main focuses here. So yeah, that is all the skills. So apart from maxing out armor and resistances, you want to focus on vulnerable damage, crit damage, agility, and movement speed. For uniques, the Ashiar Kanjar is a banger thanks to the 50% increased damage and weapon mastery points. And for the same reason, you want a sword in the other hand to get max gains from weapon mastery. Naturally, we want a crossbow for the vulnerable damage, but I botched the tempering on mine, so this is my punishment. It works, but yeah, it's going to be a huge improvement once I hit a crossbow. I'm also running Rakanov's Wake for resistance and non-physical damage, which for this build means cold damage, non-physical damage. See. And movement speed, of course. Now, moving on to tempering, we'll start with the Greeks, meaning the offensives. And you must have damage per Dark Shroud on all your offensives. It is a huge damage increase. Then you slap chance for Dance of Knives to do double damage on your bow. I've also slapped it on my sword because I am superstitious. But if you can only choose one, ranged weapon is a given, as you get double the chance than you do from a one-handed weapon. And One Ring should have increased cold imbuement stacks for quality of life, and lacking good other options, I'd say. I've taken Subterfuge cooldown reduction on the other ring in order to cast Concealment faster. On the defensive side, I'm running increased armor on basically everything, as I haven't found an armor boosting piece of gear. And I'm also running Daze on Lucky Hit on the other defensives as well, in order to utilize the aspect here for 20% damage boost. And now, speaking of aspects, you want Synergy for the Wombo combo. When you cast Concealment or Smoke Bomb and then Dance of Knives, you receive 100% increased damage, which is absolutely bonkers. Stolen Vigor boosts your damage when at full momentum, which you always is. Star Shards for hitting more targets, because more targets hit, more targets dead. And Conceited Aspect for more damage while barriers up, and you will always have a barrier up thanks to the nifty little rune word that we'll get into in a bit. True Sight, since we're running Inner Sight as our specialization, simply to get 40% increased damage when gauge is full, which it often is, and to get 132% more crit damage against bosses. Here we have Umbrous Aspect, so you now have to click Dark Shroud, freeing up a skill slot in the skill bar. Clandestine to get more skill points into Dance of Knives, and Concussive Strikes for increased damage to Daze. I use Aspect of the Protector for more barriers, but here it's possible to opt for preference. Now, on the gem side, we are running Vulnerable in all slots, and Agility on the armor. Rings and amulets are always used to max out resistance and armor, so that will be up to you. For runes, we are running Back and Cax. This is a crucial step in maximizing damage. The Cax rune will be kept on close watch at all times, as it's part of the Wombo combo that nets 100 million plus hits in this iteration. Neo and Q is the other combo. You'll be proccing this one constantly, as you're zooming around, not taking damage while dishing out tons on your own. That means you always have the Druid barrier up, reducing damage taken, and more importantly, it increases damage deal by 7% thanks to this. And now we're moving on to Paragons. In the following order, we are running Eldritch Bounty, Exploit Weakness, Dance Macabre, and Cheap Shot. I'm not going to go through each node pick here, but I'm going to say this. You want to opt for maximum damage at all times, but with that said, you will, when attempting higher pit levels and new torment levels, encounter resistance. Thus, opting for defense is necessary. And apart from raising armor or resistance, you'll want to opt for damage reduction, which can be found somewhere here. You want to opt for damage reduction. This reduces all incoming damage of this sort, and as its percentage based, it scales as you take on harder content. Now, the current glyphs I'm running are Canny, Closer, Exploit, Fluidity, and Versatility. I've messed around with some different combos, and this is the current standing. Somewhere I have an Excel sheet that explains my choices, and I'll upload it once I'm done with the video. Now, so you want to place Fluidity over here, Versatility over here, and that's to get max value for vulnerable damage and damage in general. Canny does not go there. It goes here, because this you find the most intelligence nodes here, and then Closer goes here. And that is simply due to the max dexterity. I've counted, I've done the math. You can trust me, I'm a scientist. So by deduction, Exploit ends up down here, which coincidentally is the glyph with the most strength nodes. So what can I say about the Paragon choices? I mean, they're all good, naturally, but Dance Macabre is the star of the show, as we have here. It increases the Dance of Knives damage by 50% when the combo is done right. We picked the board second to last though, since the other rare nodes aren't as interesting to us. So, as you probably know, the later boards you take, the higher is the requirement for unlocking the extra bonus. This bonus is shit. There are way better bonuses, like this one. So, that's the train of thought. Now, with all the setup shit out the way, we can move on to the real business, namely how the hell to pull off the combo. So, when you load in, you'll be naked in terms of buffs. You pop your imbuement, throw a grenade for good measure, and start spinning. Keep an eye on the momentum meter. Once you hit 10 stacks, shift your gaze to the rune meter. Now, this part is crucial for getting it right. The meter fills up as you're moving, so if you need to prep the combo, you can always stop moving, but as you master it and integrate keeping tabs into your routine, you'll be able to do everything without stopping. Now, when the meter is about half full, stop spinning, but keep moving. Throw a grenade, pop into concealment, and when the meter looks like this, hold spin to win. The damage fluctuates as your glyph stacks ebb and flow, which is why it can at times feel like you've botched the combo. So, for maximum gains, try to time the combo with having a full inner sight gauge, as it increases your damage by 40%. Now, in theory, it's not hard to pull off. For bosses, you'll want to throw in Caltrops after the smoke grenade, hoping they stand still long enough for the damage increase to accumulate. And that, folks, is all for now. I'm happy to hear your thoughts on the build, so leave a comment, like if liked, and yeah. Oh, one more thing. Subscribe, because this is a coordinated disgrace. I'll leave the rest of this run in, so you can see how it's done in practice. It's pit 70, done with somewhat ease, so yeah, enjoy the watch. See you next time.